Thank you for joining us today. One of the most successful holiday appeals to take place in the Brattleboro area, in the Windham County area, in fact, now on its 19th year, is Project Feed the Thousands. Very, very proud to be associated with that great cause. And joining us today to talk about Project Feed is co-chair Kelly Corbeil from WTSA, Lucy Fortier, who is the director of the Brattleboro Area Drop-In Center, and Jerry Goldberg, the director of the Brattleboro Area Chamber of Commerce, who has played a valuable role in alerting businesses to the need to help out their people who are less fortunate. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, this year, as I understand, because you've made the good or dubious judgment of having me on the planning committee, this year's goal is $100,000 in cash, from what I understand, plus $200,000, that's 200,000 meals, all right? So that really is a heavy burden to lay upon any one person, but if you look at the entire community, look at the entire area, it's very, very achievable. Why was it set in that direction? Maybe I'll start with Lucy, and you could explain just what the current need is, because a lot of people may not realize that there are hungry people maybe living right next to them.
Yes. November 1st was the first date that our food stamps were cut drastically. And a lot of seniors who are on fixed budgets are one individual in their family. So their food stamps were cut $11. So if a person was getting $20 to $25 a month for food stamps, now they're down to probably around $9, $10, which on last Friday, I had 3 older ladies sitting in our waiting room waiting to use the food shelf. That is unusual. Just last Friday, we had 60 people coming through the food shelf on the 1st of the month, which is highly, highly unusual for us. We never have those kind of numbers that early in the month. So food stamps are really making it very tough for every family. And I think Project Feed this year is going to be a real big, everybody's going to need a big push on that.
Because of the economics and just the continued issues that people, even who are working, are facing?
Yes. Even just this past year, we've already, in our first quarter, saw 3,091 people come through our food shelf. So that equals out to about 9,800 bags of groceries that were given. Last year at the same time, we had 2,500 people who came through, and we gave out 7,500 bags of groceries. So our first quarter this year and last year, there's a big increase in demand.
So what role does Project Feed the Thousands play in being able to help what you do at the food shelf?
It helps supply and fill our food shelf. Most of the food that we receive from Project Feed is gone by the end of January, early part of February. But at least it helps fill our Thanksgiving and Christmas baskets that we give out to families.
And of course, the money goes all year round to help buy food.
It certainly does, and we still are using last year's, we're on the downside of last year's funds, but we have been using those extremely this year.
So how does this food get collected, and how can people take part in what is a vital mission for this community?
Well, Project Feed has a lot of different locations. One of the best ways probably to find out what those locations are is to go to the Project Feed website, which is feedthethousands.org. But the major places you can find a place to make a donation of food would be any of the area grocery stores, like Hannaford's is a big contributor to Project Feed. Already, I forgot how much they've already given this month.
I think this month already it's like been 172 boxes plus 30 bags of groceries that I've collected there.
They're tremendous. And then, we have Price Chopper, we have the Food Co-op, we have a variety of grocery stores. Plus a lot of area businesses also put out food bins to collect food. So the best way, again, is to go onto the website to find out where to make a drop-off. And then cash donations, as Lucy said, are so, so important, and that gets them through the year. And they can buy an awful lot of food with the cash they get. So it's just imperative that they receive it. And for instance, for last year, you know, a $100,000 goal is a huge goal. One of our big contributors last year was Entergy Vermont Yankee gave $30,000. They have said that they will contribute this year. We don't know the amount, but it just shows that it just is going to take a lot of people to step up to the plate to get to that $100,000 goal, which is imperative, and they rely on it. And again, the way to make those donations, the easiest way is just to send it to River Valley Credit Union, care of Project Feed the Thousands.
They have really stepped up and done a lot of the bank account work that really needs to happen for something this large.
They have. River Valley Credit Union is a partner with TSA, the two major partners for Project Feed the Thousands, and all their staff is involved, all my staff is involved. It's a lot of time and effort that's put into it, and we're so thankful to all those staff members for helping us.
Now, just to give a quick history lesson here, Project Feed the Thousands was cooked up between a couple of gentlemen who have since stepped away, for all intents and purposes, a large part from the organization of the project, co-founders Larry Smith and George Haynes. Larry is someone who we all know was my predecessor at WTSA, and George at the time was president of Brattleboro Savings and Loan, and this really grew beyond anybody's wildest imagination, except people who were working with the hungry on a daily basis, because they saw what was happening. And Lucy, you're continuing to see what's happening out there.
We certainly are. I mean, the demand started off, I think, the first year, it was, I'm not sure if it was $1,500 or it was some small amount, and it was known as Project Feed the Thousand. And we have grown immensely through the years. And like I said, this year I think is going to be a real big year for every food bank or every food shelf in Vermont.
We're really pleased to have area businesses and the Brattleboro Chamber of Commerce involved. Jerry, you've been in this community about 20 years. You've seen this project grow, and thankfully the Chamber, many area businesses, and you yourself have gotten involved. How come?
Well, to use the cliche expression, this is the right thing to do. And the Chamber certainly, as a representative of about 550 or so businesses in this community, has a megaphone, if you will, to the ears of those businesses and nonprofit organizations. And I think a part of our mission at the Chamber is to bring those two segments together, the business community with the nonprofit community. Project Feed is a perfect example of that. That we can get the message out, working with Kelly on communicating to our members the need, the continued need, and to keep the megaphone hot and moving. The Chamber has played that kind of role with all kinds of organizations, and certainly Project Feed at this time of year takes center stage with us. And I personally, as I segue out of my position at the Chamber, will promise and will do everything I can and volunteer the Chamber's expertise and ability to communicate the message to its fullest extent. So the businesses, I think, look to the Chamber for guidance. They look to us to get the message. And so when Kelly and the folks that are involved need to have something to say, they can turn to us and we'll help them get it out as best we can.
It's all a part of what socially responsible companies think of as a dual bottom line. Yes, you've got to make money to stay in business, but you also need the community around you to be strong, and certainly working to strengthen that community.
And one thing that we've seen, Tim, as no surprise to anybody who's sitting at this table today, is that Brattleboro is an extraordinary community. Not just Brattleboro, but the communities that comprise our area. We're an area chamber, and this is a campaign that far exceeds just the Brattleboro borders, that the cooperation of businesses and individuals from this whole Windham County area, the chambers of commerce within the area, as well as our partners across the river. And it's very interesting because we have so many issues with the river being between us and the state that neighbors us to the east. But when it comes to something like this, we're all on the same side of the river. And there's no lines drawn. It's sort of like when there's a fire. The fire trucks are coming in from Keenan, they're coming in from everywhere. When this is like a little fire that we've got to deal with. And they're all in it with us. And we're in it for them as well.
It's interesting. A historical note, my own hometown of Vernon actually was incorporated with Hinsdale and Northfield, Massachusetts at one time. So crossing a river is not something that we're just getting used to, but I'm glad that we're still keeping up with it. It goes along with the fact that food programs on both sides of the river and all throughout the greater Windham County area are benefiting from Project Feed.
Yes, they are. I spoke to a lot of the food shelves today to make sure that they were going to be on board with us, and everybody's all excited. They're ready to start off.
That is good to know. And the other part of this is that area schools are going to be involved. Kelly, what's the extent of involvement there?
Yep. We're lucky that we have, Betsy Gentili is a big part of putting the school project together, along with Mark Spino, who's principal of Vernon Elementary. And what they've done is really try to reach out to all the area schools in all the areas around us and get the kids involved and make them understand what hunger is, that some of their friends are hungry, some of their neighbors are hungry, and that it's a big problem, and anything that a child can do to help their neighbor, their friend, they're learning about it. And so the schools, some of them have actually incorporated it in their curriculums. And then we have a big day that we do at Hannaford's, and it's called the Fill the Bus Day. And a lot of the area schools participate, and they come and they bring all the food that they have been collecting from the beginning, the kickoff of the Project Feed till that date, and they deliver it all, and they pack school buses, and they try to fill one. And last year they filled 2.5, which was pretty amazing. And it's just a real fun day because they're there and they understand it. We put them on the radio. There's multiple radio stations there, and it's enlightening, and it's just wonderful that the schools actually are educating the kids on the importance of it.
Well, it's an economics lesson, it's a social responsibility lesson, it's a math lesson, and I may digress, but one of the longtime volunteer board members with Project Feed, Margaret Carasona, had recently retired as a math teacher at Leland and Gray Union High School. And as part of her lesson plan, she had students go out and plan on buying, based on current store prices, $40 worth of food and seeing how they could do that over the course of a month. And that really is what many of our citizens are facing right now.
It's true. A family of 4 gets about $40 a week from food stamps. And I tried shopping one week on $40, and I was amazed at how hard it is. I know that the drop-in center gets produce from both the food bank and also local farmers. So individuals who come to the food shelf know that at least we have produce, and we have yogurt, which is a dairy product. So when they go to the store with $40, they basically have to buy what they need for the week. And a lot of that has carbs in it. And looking for stuff that doesn't have a whole lot of carbs and sugar is very hard on a $40 budget.
Trying to eat healthy and eat on a budget, that is a major challenge.
It certainly is.
And along with that, maybe it would be good to outline some of the foods that would be the most helpful for a collection like this.
I found that you can get a huge jar of applesauce that's unsweetened and it's cinnamon flavored, so that you've got that, and that's not expensive, and at least that will go a lot further than the individual small cups. Peanut butter is another great way to be able to get some protein. Also, tuna fish. We also are always in need at the drop-in center for diapers. Diapers have become a huge demand lately. So those are always nice to have when somebody comes in with a little baby and you can say, oh, we got diapers for you today. So you see the smile on their face, because I never realized how expensive diapers were until I went shopping for them.
I've been shopping for a couple of great-grandchildren in recent years, and diapers are very expensive. And I also know that the 3 Squares program in Vermont, if you're eligible for it, those sorts of things aren't eligible to be bought with it.
No, they're not. Laundry soap, even bar soap, shampoo, any deodorants or any products that are hygiene type are not covered on your food stamps. So those take away from the money that you might be spending to buy other products.
It really does make sense to be able to not only give non-perishable foods then, but also consider dropping a few of these items in the basket.
Yes, I was surprised this morning. I went to Hannaford's and there was a whole big bag of the small shampoos and soaps and conditioners, and I brought it back, and boy, that was the biggest thing at the drop-in center when I walked in with that.
I'm not surprised because really a lot of people are making some difficult choices right now. Granted, oil prices may be a little less than what they've been in recent years, but they're still pretty high, and anybody trying to get to work for an $8 an hour job is really having to deal with gas prices too.
That's true, and our prices aren't going down as fast as they go up.
It really scares me to think about what would happen if things like Project Feed the Thousands weren't here.
Yeah, I do too, because I know the the food shelf would not be operating the way it is today.
Maybe wouldn't hurt to mention what the food shelf hours are.
The food shelf is open Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Monday and Wednesday we're open from 9 to 6, and then Fridays 8:30 to 5.
That's good to know, and of course, the other area food shelves also have other hours in the region?
Yes, the Bible Chapel on Atwood Street is open on Tuesdays, and the Agape Church is Thursday evenings.
How much does everybody work together on these different food programs? Because at one look, it seems like you may be competing with one another, but you're not.
No, you're not, because you're helping out. We were having to stretch our food dollars tremendously when we were open 5 days a week. And Bible Chapel now is seeing the demand increase on their portion, so it's helping us all stretch our money a lot further.
Now, Brattleboro is fortunate to have a major employer, although not what it once was, but C&S Wholesale Grocers. Is it still a major player in Project Feed?
Yes, it sure is. Again, we don't know yet what their commitment will be, but we know they are committed to continue helping, and they know the cause is important, and they have said absolutely there will be quite a significant amount coming from them. But again, it's always a wonder. You don't know as we go along what exactly we will get. So, but no question, C&S is our number one corporate, person that gives a lot of actual food.
It's nice to have it all, but you can't depend on it. That means that all the rest of us have to step up.
Exactly, exactly. And I just want to note, Tim, too, sometimes people wonder with Project Feed where their money is going to go, or they might have, say they lived in Guilford and they wanted Guilford to receive whatever they were donating. It's not, people sometimes think it's just the drop-in center. It's not. If somebody wanted to contribute specifically to a food shelf, we'll do that. We take those funds and we give them specifically to that food shelf. So same thing for schools. The Brattleboro schools, obviously most of that goes to the Brattleboro area drop-in center because that's, what they're raising the food and funds for. But if Guilford School was to do it, it would go to the Guilford pantry. We have Townsend, out in Townsend, it goes to their pantry. We do stuff in Hinsdale, and it goes to the Hinsdale pantry. So I just don't, I always feel like there's this misconception that it always is for Brattleboro. Well, it's clearly 100% not just for Brattleboro. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Among the interesting ways that people have made donations in recent years, I've been struck by the town of Brattleboro employees. Since 1990, they've done a holiday breakfast. And since Project Feed the Thousands has been involved, they've combined that breakfast with an employee food drive.
Yes, I have. It's great. And Carol Lallat already committed this year that they're going to continue doing it again this year. And it's a fun time, and we raise some good money, bring in some good food, and it's wonderful.
It certainly helps to have that kind of support for people who are basically public servants who know the need out there, and they're all dealing with what they're dealing with as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So how can a business, large or small, get involved with Project Feed the Thousands this year? I know that you did a business blitz. Maybe running down some of that would help, and some of the other ways they can get involved.
Sure. Tim O'Connor and Martha O'Connor headed up a business blitz for Project Feed this year. And what that meant was that there was a significant amount of people that went out to try to get in front of as many businesses as they could. Of course, they didn't get in front of them all. There's just so many. But when they did, the question was, can you do something for Project Feed? Anything, whether it be a $10 donation or a larger cash donation or something with your employees or a food drive, or could you put inserts in your statements just to make people for awareness, or could you put our logo on your website? Whatever they can do, any little bit we're grateful for. And if every business could do one thing, anything at all, it would be wonderful and it would be super helpful.
And that really is how they can do it. Individuals can, again, drop where they shop.
Absolutely. And we'd encourage that.
Speaking of dropping where they shop, one of the ways that my Rotary Club, it's the Sunrise Rotary, contributes to the effort, and these are all people in the business community, the mechanics of getting the boxes and foodstuffs that are dropped off in Hannaford's and the Chopper and the Co-op and wherever they are, we have a schedule that we build into our own days to go and make those pick up and drop them off where Lucy lives. So, and that's an ongoing thing that starts as soon as the drive starts and continues throughout the holiday season. So the businesses are involved in many other ways as well, in making sure that the food gets from where it's given to where it needs to be.
This really is a good habit, and for some of us, it never ends. Just to tell you a story, I was on the phone with co-founder Larry Smith the other day, and he's retired now. He and his wife spend part of their year in Florida, and he has taken on the food drive for their local community.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Very nice. Yep. Nobody can do it better than Larry. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
that's true.
And I believe they asked him, do you have any experience? But it just goes to show that really helping people in need is a gift that keeps on giving, and it's something that it's one of the best legacies any of us could leave.
Well, I would like to, as long as I have the microphone at this moment, just really to comment favorably about the two ladies that are sitting here to my right. Lucy, who lives this mission every day, all year long, as did Melinda Busino in prior years, and Kelly for stepping into this role a couple of years ago when she needed to, and really keep this engine stoked as she does. And I really wanted to comment and commend them for all the work that they do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got to tell you all that for me, this is personal. I tell this story to school groups that I'm the 6th out of 7 children in my family. Back in the day of a one-income family, and Dad worked 2 or 3 jobs at once, kind of similar to what his son does these days. But really, food was an issue, and it just breaks my heart to see anybody go hungry, especially a young person, because it feeds into other issues. You can tell sometimes with the older clothes, the lack of self-esteem, and really it hurts a young person's ability to learn if they are not well fed when they walk in the door in the morning.
Very true.
Yep.
And certainly on the other end of it are seniors, people who have spent their lives giving to their local community who need a little help. Why can't we help them? I'm glad that Project Feed is there for that.
That's true, because a lot of our seniors don't want to give up their family home. I know that in Guilford, I have some friends that are seniors, and they struggle year after year, especially the winter months with the oil heat and the taxes. But that home has been in their family for, 50 years or 70 years. They don't want to give it up because they raised their children there, and they were raised in those homes. And my heart goes out when I see them having to come to the drop-in center, and you know that their pride is taking the best of them. And they really come in very meek and saying, I really need help this month, And I keep on assuring them that we are here for them. They shouldn't be ashamed or feel that they're taking away from anybody else, because there's plenty to go around.
I was in front of one of the local markets one day with one of our food raisers, and there was an elderly woman who looked like she wasn't that well off, and clothes were a little tattered maybe. She came and dropped a $100 bill into a collection bin, and me being me, I had to ask why. And she said, look, I've been there, and I just won $100 in the lottery last night, and I just couldn't think of a better place to put it.
Very nice.
That's awesome.
So whether you have a little or you have a lot, this is the chance to step up and make a difference. And certainly thank the 3 of you for all that you do on a daily basis in helping people without make sure they can get by.
Thank you.
Again, Project Feed the Thousands. Drop where you shop. Make a donation in care of Project Feed at River Valley Credit Union, or feedthethousands.org. Make a contribution there. Please, whatever you do this holiday season, think about your neighbors, your friends, your family. Could be you. This is Tim Johnson. Thank you for joining us.